For the best meat you have ever eaten in your life, go to samsbutchershop.com. Enter the coupon code Triple T when you check out for a 10% discount. We got a lot of out-of-control Marxist judges in our judicial system in America that are wrecking American lives. And I'm going to talk about that today. But before I get to that, I've got to do some personal stuff real quick, if you'll bear with me for a moment, because I've got to acknowledge the last few days I've received an awful lot of emails, snail mails, of course, all the comments I have on the videos and whatnot, and I want you to know I really appreciate hearing from all of you. I really do. And I spent Sunday afternoon just responding to emails, so if you're writing me, I'll get to you. Just bear with me because, you know, I got a lot of things to juggle here. But I do appreciate you reaching out to me. It means a lot to me, and I'm very grateful for it. And a lot of you have used the link down below to keep the channel going, to buy me a coffee and the PayPal and whatnot. Thank you so much for that. It means a lot. This channel is beginning to, or it has become quite an investment, if only of time. It takes some time and effort and work to put these things together. I enjoy doing it. I'm not complaining. I love doing it. But it does take a good deal of effort, and so I appreciate you saying thank you in those ways. Some of you have reached out via email and even mailed me your gratitude, your appreciation. I got my first ever letter from Asia. Miss Pat in Japan, I got your letter on Saturday. Thank you so much. I appreciate you for reaching out to me and for your gift. You are wonderful. Thank you so very much. That means a lot to me, and Marina as well. Your kind letter, you're just so kind. And my dear friend Tracy up in Minnesota, and she's done so much, and so many of you. And now I'm in trouble because I've started naming names. I apologize. All of you that have reached out, I love you guys, man. I really do. You've just been a great community, and I love coming and visiting with you. Down the road, you know, me and Marina, we got our grand plan to hit the road with our RV and travel the country. Maybe we can do a meetup somewhere and meet some of you folks. I'd love to do that. That'd be great. Share a steak with you or something like that. All right. So thank you again. Keep the letters coming, the emails coming, the comments coming. Go ahead and like this video right now. Let's get that out of the way. Please go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe to the channel if you have not. I would really appreciate that, and comment down below about what we got to talk to. And I am full up to here, so let's get going, because I have had it up to here with these Marxist judges in America that are ruining American lives. It is no mistake that they are Marxist judges. I say that because they are at war with capitalism, and anybody who wants to make a buck in America. It used to be the American dream that you go out, you work hard, you apply yourself, you're industrious, you get a job, you work hard, you save your money, maybe you invest your money and so you can make some money, or maybe you start a business and you become profitable, and hey, maybe you can become wealthy. That was the American dream, right? But that sort of thinking is demonized by liberals, by the leftists. I got a comment from somebody down under in Australia. He said, stop teeing off on leftist. Well, I think leftist down there means something different than it does in America. By leftist, I mean a liberal, a big government-loving liberal, an anti-capitalist, someone who is dead set opposed to the idea, the notion that somebody could go out and make a buck or two, okay? I applaud entrepreneurship in America. People who go out and by the sweat of their brow and their industriousness and their hard work, they go out and they build a business, and the thing blossoms and they start making a lot of money. That should be applauded, not envied, not penalized. We should try and emulate people that do that sort of thing. Hard work should be rewarded. I got no beef with anybody that goes out and makes $1 million, $1 billion. God bless them. God bless them. Let's go out and try and emulate them here in America, right? But instead, we have these Marxist judges who hate capitalism, who hate free markets, who hate the very notion that you can apply. You know, they don't do anything in their own lives. They're political appointees. They've never held a job in most part. A lot of these people like Joe Biden, he's never held a freaking job in his life. He's been a government man for 50-something years. He's never met a payroll. He's never created a job. He's never built a product or produced a product or run a warehouse. Nothing like that at all. He knows nothing about how the real world operates. The same was true of Obama, who's, of course, running the country. The same was true of the Clintons. These people don't know what real life is all about. They're in a fantasy land. They just want to control your life. That's their fantasy, to control you and your life. But let me not get bogged down, because what I've done over the weekend is I've given some study to these cases, the main cases that President Trump is embroiled in around the country. I've got 5 I want to talk about, but I'm saving this last one, the one in New York, for last. That's the one I really want to talk about. Give me a sip of Pellegrino, sparkling mineral water. All right. So I just want to give you a rundown of these 4 cases, just a synopsis, if you will, so that you'll understand what's going on. This absolute witch hunt against Donald Trump. Let's go through them quickly, one by one. The first one I want to talk about is the so-called New York hush money case. This is the first trial of the 5 I want to talk about. This case centered around the alleged payment that Donald Trump had made to former porn actress Stormy Daniels before the 2016 election. You may remember this. Stormy Daniels, that's not a real name. I forget what her name is. Trump called her Horseface. She said she was paid $130,000 in hush money to stay quiet after she and Trump allegedly had an affair, which he denies. Whatever. Of course, providing this money in and of itself was not illegal. Where it got bogged down is it centered on how Trump allegedly, his former lawyer who paid, allegedly, Ms. Daniels, had his reimbursement recorded in Trump's accounts. So he was charged with falsifying his business records by saying the payment was for legal fees. So in this particular case, he's facing 34 counts of fraud under campaign finance laws, and is, of course, pled not guilty to all of them. This is the trial that is scheduled for the 25th of March, next month, when jury selection will get underway. So we'll see how that goes. When you compare something like this to the overwhelmingly obvious crimes of Hillary Clinton, who, of course, fabricated, lied about Russian collusion when she was the one, her campaign was the one that arranged for the Steele dossier to try and push forward the narrative that Russia interfered in the 2016 election. It all turned out to be nonsense. It was all bogus. It was all something she created. Miss Clinton and her 30-something thousand emails, the woman who had a private server while Secretary of State doing government business from her den, basically, in Massapequa, New York. But nothing was ever done about that. But we're going to worry about Trump paying allegedly $130,000 to some ugly hooker or whatever this woman is. That's the first trial. All right, let me go quickly to trial number 2 that I want to cover. The second one is the so-called Capitol riot and insurrection trial. This is about whether Trump illegally conspired to overturn his 2020 election to Biden. Federal prosecutors allege he pressured officials to reverse the results, knowingly spread lies about the election fraud, and sought to exploit the Capitol riot on January the 6th to delay the certification of Biden and stay in power. He's been charged with 4 criminal counts, including conspiracy to defraud the United States and conspiracy against the rights of citizens. Now listen at this. This is key. Pay attention to this, because I made note of this the other day. I had not come up with this on my own. I heard, man, my nose itches. I heard somebody else say this, and it is so key. Some had speculated Trump would be charged with insurrection or aiding insurrection But that is not one of the charges. And isn't that interesting? How many voices have you heard from the left saying, oh, Trump fomented an insurrection on January the 6th? Well, if that's true, and of course it isn't true, as we all know, those of us that have some brains up here, it is not true. But if it were true, don't you think somebody would have actually charged him with insurrection? Funny they didn't, isn't it? They didn't charge him with insurrection because they know there was no insurrection. It's as simple as that. Anybody you hear charging Trump with insurrection, you can dismiss as a phony baloney, absent-minded knucklehead, because they don't know what they're talking about. All right. This trial has been postponed indefinitely because Trump has appealed it. And this is, of course, going to go to the Supreme Court in all likelihood. All right. The third trial I want to discuss briefly here is the Georgia 2020 election trial, so-called Georgia 2020 election trial. Mr. Trump, President Trump, and some 18 other defendants are accused of criminally conspiring to overturn his very narrow defeat in the state of Georgia in the 2020 election. The huge racketeering investigation led by Georgia prosecutor Fani Willis, that's another show right there, was sparked in part by a leaked phone call in which the former president asked the state's top election official, that would be Bradley Raffensperger, to find me 11,000 votes. Trump was hit with 13 criminal counts, including an alleged violation of Georgia's racketeering or the RICO Act. He has denied wrongdoing in the case and has entered a plea of not guilty. The trial date has not been set. What needs to be noted here is this is the case that involves, man, I had this written down and now I cannot find it. Here it is. This particular trial, the RICO trial in Georgia, has been sidetracked because of this blithering idiot named Fani Willis, this little dime store hooker DA from Georgia, Fani Willis. This timeline has been complicated by an effort to disqualify Ms. Willis because of her romantic relationship with a man she hired to work on the case. That would be attorney Nathan Wade, if you're paying attention to that at all. This is an absolute, you talk about a clown show and a kangaroo court. This one in Georgia is it. I don't know if you've been following this nonsense or not, but you talk about a bogus trial. All of these are bogus. All of these are frivolous, but none takes the cake more than this one in Georgia with Fani Willis. And Fani Willis is her own worst enemy. I would put my reputation or whatever on the fact that this thing is going nowhere. This thing is blowing up in Fani Willis's face, and I would guarantee you this is not going anywhere. What happened was Trump calls Bradley Raffensperger, the Georgia Secretary of State, on the night of election, and he says, man, you got to find me some more votes. And that's what instigated all these legal proceedings against Trump, because they're thinking, well, that's a violation of the RICO Act, or Trump is interfering in the election. Sometimes you got to use a little common sense. Can you imagine Donald Trump on the phone with Bradley Raffensperger? Brad, you got to find me some more votes. This is just how Trump talks. He's from the Bronx. That's just how it is. And it does not convey to me the idea that he is trying to get Raffensperger to do anything illegal. Now, the fact of the matter is, as we who are paying attention, know, there was an awful lot of shenanigans on the night of the election in 2020, particularly in Fulton County, Georgia. I've seen the videos of it. I've seen the examples of it, and so have many of you. I'm telling you the truth. Donald Trump did not lose the state of Georgia. There is no way in hell he lost the election. He sure as heck didn't lose it in Georgia. So this is just another frivolous lawsuit brought against President Trump in the state of Georgia. And you people in Fulton County should be ashamed of yourself. It's absolutely treasonous behavior. All right, let me move on to the next trial. This would be in no particular order. I got dry mouth. Sorry, folks. This would be the so-called classified documents case, and it's about whether Trump mishandled classified documents by taking them from the White House to his Mar-a-Lago residence in Florida after he left office, and whether or not he obstructed the FBI in an effort to retrieve the files, as well as the criminal investigation into his handling of them. The majority of the counts are for the willful retention of national defense information, which falls under the Espionage Act. This trial is scheduled for May, but it looks like it's going to take place after November's election. This is why it's so important that he be reelected to office. Now look, as you know, I'm just a simple dude down in the sticks of Alabama. I have never been to law school. I am not a man of letters. I did not go to Harvard or Yale. I've never been in a fraternity. But I know this much. This is bogus on the face because I am aware of the fact, and you probably are as well, that a president, and only a president, can declassify any document. Right? And if that is correct, and it is, that makes this case, in my little mind, completely null and void, does it not? Contrast this case with the case which does not exist. That would be the case which should exist, that is charging former Vice President Biden with having classified documents in the trunk of his Corvette. Not President Biden, Vice President Biden, who had no right whatsoever to have access to these documents at all. The documents Trump had, he had every right as president to have them and to declassify them if he wished, which makes this case utter nonsense. Okay, so there we go. Another case which should be thrown out or never should have been brought in the first place. All right. All right, the hush money. Okay, I covered 4, didn't I? The hush money case, the riot and insurrection case, the Georgia election case, and the classified documents case. Now, I want to get to the 5th case that I really want to hone in on here, and that would be the case that just recently concluded in New York. This would be the case involving little Letitia James and Judge Arthur Ingon. You've seen his picture, the man who looks like Scrooge, Judge Scrooge. This took place in Manhattan, in New York. This was a civil fraud case. This is the case where Trump was charged with overinflating the value of his property in order to curry favor with banks. Okay? Oh, I could crack on this one for hours. Let me tell you the truth. Folks, listen to this. This is the sum of this case. You had these people, Judge Ingon, an avowed Obama and Biden supporter, as well as Letitia James. If you remember Letitia James, we have her on video. You can find it on YouTube, on social media. She's out there in the crowd running for election with a bullhorn, talking about before she's elected how she's going to bring down Donald Trump. These people loathe Donald Trump. I mean, if you think the stack was decked against him from the get-go, you're right, it was. They were seeking any way they could to bring Donald Trump down. They're giddy about it. They're loving it. They're loving wrecking a man's life. They just get off on it. But I want you to get the essence of this case, and I want you to understand, again, I'm just a simple guy in the sticks of Alabama who can see through this bullshit, and that's exactly what it is. Here's what happens. I find a house or a piece of property that I want to buy. Okay? I go to the bank and I sit down with the loan officer and I say, I want to borrow X number of dollars to buy this house. All right. I fill out the application for a loan, and at that point, the underwriters do their work, and they start appraising the property in question. They know, because it is their job, they know what the value of the property actually is, okay? This is their job. They do their due diligence at the bank where I'm trying to do business to get this loan. I can't fool them. I can't go in there and tell them, I need $1 million for this piece of property that really is only worth about $250,000. When they start doing their homework, they're going to know, hey, this guy, he's a little shady. This is what they're charging Trump with doing, overinflating the value of his properties, such as Mar-a-Lago, to curry favor with banks, to get good rates and what have you, right? So he's been charged with civil fraud and convicted now, but it ain't over. Charged with overinflating the value of his property. Now, if you're paying attention, you know how this all turned out. This thing concluded last week. And this smarmy, scheming, wormy-looking judge, Arthur Scrooge Ingon. This guy, just his appearance tells you. His appearance says everything about who he is as a man. He's just reprehensible. This is the judge that found Trump guilty in this civil fraud case, and he charged Donald Trump. He fined him over $350 million. Do you remember that it was Judge Ingon, Scrooge Ingon, who said, he just got this number out of thin air and he said, yeah, I think Mar-a-Lago is worth $18 million. Which is just laughable. Again, look at who I am. Trailer Trash Tim down here in Alabama. Buddy, I know that Mar-a-Lago is worth a hell of a lot more than $18 million. If you got to get a new roof put on Mar-a-Lago, it's going to cost you $18 million, I'm a-thinking. Mar-a-Lago, I have seen estimates that its worth is in excess of $500 million. Number one, it's a historic property. Number two, location. It's on the beach in Florida. And number three, it's the home of a president. That really enhances the value. To say this property, this judge is, God, Lord help me. You're shooting a video. You got to come up with words. I'm trying to come up with words to describe this clown, Ingon. What a clown show this is. For him to actually sit on the bench and say Mar-a-Lago is the actual value is $18 million. I'm speechless. It's utterly absurd what they have done to Donald Trump. And he finds him guilty and fines him $350 million. And this is what I'm trying to get to, folks. This is a problem in the United States of America. We have a series now of these Marxist, anti-capitalism judges who have set themselves up to be these little tin-horn dictators in their courtroom, and they're just fining people these exorbitant, outrageous sums of money, absolutely ruining their lives. And it's happening over and over and over again, just because they can. And even if these people win their case, their legal fees are astronomical. Can you think of another person they've done this to? How about Alex Jones? They did it to Alex Jones. Alex Jones was fined more than Trump. Alex Jones has been fined, when it's all said and done, over $1 billion. They have bankrupted this man. Absolutely bankrupted this man and ruined his life, at least his financial life. It is utterly outrageous. Now, I have an acquaintance on Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter, X, if you will. This man's name is Grant Cardone. Grant Cardone is a sharp cookie, and this is what he said in response to this judgment by Scrooge Ingon. Grant Cardone said, all banks require an owner's valuation of the property. The bank is also required to get third-party valuation. The two values will almost always be different. That is not fraud. You should be concerned about the $355 million judgment against Donald Trump because it sets a precedent for every property owner to be arbitrarily declared guilty of fraud, even if there is no fraud. Do you own property in America? Do you own land? Do you own a home? Well, you better pray you never cross paths with Judge Ingon, because he just might take it all away from you. He's certainly trying to do it with Donald Trump. Cardone continues regarding the $355 million judgment. I have bought, this is Grant Cardone speaking, I have bought over $5 billion of real estate in my career. Every loan requires by law the lender get an independent appraisal, including an estimate of the property's value. Pardon me. My estimate of value does not and cannot make for fraud. He is exactly right. That's Grant Cardone. He is a private equity fund manager. He has he runs Cardone Capital and other ventures that he has. He is sound, and he has nailed this. These people are wrecking lives. These activist, Marxist, damn judges are wrecking people's lives, and they're stealing their property. That's exactly what they're doing. And you better believe they could do it to you as well if you're here in America. If you run afoul of these Marxist judges, they could destroy you just because they can. And what are you going to do about it? You're going to have to hire an attorney. You're going to have to defend yourself. Will you be successful? Well, we certainly hope so. But you're still going to be out of, Lord only knows how much money in defending yourself against these people. These rogue, renegade, lunatic, leftist, Marxist, capitalism-hating, America-hating, liberty-hating, freedom-hating judges like Arthur Scrooge Ingon, who is wrecking Donald Trump's financial life and his life. And it's all by design. That's what they're trying to do, folks. They are desperate to keep this man out of the White House, and they are doing everything they can to ruin him. Man, I'm worked up. I'm going to find a link that I'm going to post in the comment. I'm going to pin it down below. Did you know, I don't know who's done it, somebody has started a GoFundMe campaign where anybody can donate to Donald Trump to defray the cost of this fine. Now, Trump is going to appeal it. And I believe ultimately he's going to succeed, but he's still got legal fees out the wazoo. I mean, look at this. This is at least 5 cases I'm talking about. How much money do you think he's having to spend in his defense? Well, you might say, well, he's got plenty of money. That's not the point. I don't care if he's got $1 trillion. It's not the point. This is ludicrous, and it could be you. It could be me, and it's not right. Donald Trump is guilty until proven innocent in the eyes of these rogue judges. It's supposed to be the other way around. Yet they just bring up these bogus charges. They just throw these charges against the wall. Well, we're going to charge him with insurrection. We're going to charge him with fraud. We're going to charge him with RICO violations. We're going to charge him with conspiracy. Where's the evidence? There ain't none. But you don't care. You don't care about justice. You don't care about righteousness. You don't care about America. You just care about getting your own mug before a camera. You hate America. You hate liberty. You hate freedom. You hate capitalism. You hate success. You hate anybody who's got a dime more than you do. Trump is a figurehead, okay? It's me they're after. Trump is just a figurehead. It's me they're after, Mr. Common Man here down in Alabama, just trying to go out and make a living. It's every man they're after. It's you they're after. Whether you're an American or not, they are after you. If you've got the stink of freedom on you and liberty and self-sufficiency, if you are not wholly dependent on the government for your sustenance, if you have not sold your American birthright for the porridge of Marxism and socialism and communism, then you're in their crosshairs. God, I've got so much more I want to say, but I'm at half an hour already. I may have to crack on this some more tomorrow. Is this outrageous? How they are destroying this man's life? What was I saying? Somebody has started a GoFundMe page for Donald Trump. I'm going to link it down below. Send them $5. Send them $100. Whatever you can send them. It's not so much the money in this case. It's just letting your voice be heard. Just saying to these people, hell no. I'm with him. You're attacking me when you're attacking him. Incidentally, did you see that Trump is starting his own shoe line? I may be having to talk to my financial director about ordering some shoes. Size 12, don't you know? Thanks for watching, everybody. I really appreciate it. Remember all the links down below. Trailer Trash Tim here. Go out and have a great Monday. Avoid the lunatics. And I'll see you soon.